Hello, Nari McDiarmid for MiningNews.net, and it's great to be speaking again with Mike Dunbar, Managing Director of Emmerson Resources, which is growing its gold inventory to now more than 300,000 ounces at 5.2 grams per tonne. So, Mike, what does this mean for the company and its shareholders?
Thanks, Nari. And look, great to be here chatting to everyone again and to update people on what we've been up to since we last did an interview. I think it was before the Mining News Select conference over in Sydney, actually. Look, we've been very busy. We have been growing the mineral inventory and our JORC resource base, substantially over the last few months. And as you mentioned, it's now over 300,000 ounces at 5.2 grams within our Tennant Creek, our high-grade Tennant Creek project. Now, that project and the Tennant Creek goldfield itself has been a very high-grade system and area region in the past with over 5.5 million ounces of production. But what we've now managed to achieve is not only a resource base of over 300,000 ounces, and we've still got one more mineral resource that we're undertaking at the moment. Hopefully, I won't have the resource out. I'm hoping in the next two to 3 weeks we'll have that out. I'm hoping that they'll add probably another 50,000 ounces or thereabouts to the inventory. So circa 350,000 ounces. But most importantly, with our joint venture partner, Tennant Consolidated Mining Group, they are building a processing plant. Now, the really interesting part for us is we're not exposed to the cost of mining or the risks associated with the construction or mining project. They take all of that risk, and in return for them taking that risk, they get the gold production, and we get a 6% gross production royalty, which is a phenomenal royalty, and really does set us apart from most other companies, which is really quite important. But on our projects, there's the 300 now, but hopefully 350,000 ounces. Another really important differentiator is we've now, because of the work our joint venture partner has done in the modelling and the mining studies they've done, we've also just announced about a month and a half ago, the first mineral reserve, or the ore reserve for 3 of our deposits. Now, we've got a number of other deposits that we're working on resources on. We've also got ore reserves for the first time in around 20 years in the Tennant Creek mineral field. And they're modest in size. And I'm not saying they're the biggest thing, and most people wouldn't talk to them, but I will. And the reason I will is there's about 500,000 ounces in ore reserve at about 4.7 grams from memory, for just under a shade under 80,000 ounces. What that provides to us is the royalty on that equates to approximately $16.5 million of royalty value to us and our shareholders, with basically no risk. So that's a major differentiator. So 80,000 ounces in ore reserve equates to circa $16 million. The reason I mention that is with the ore reserve and our joint venture partners progressing the mining projects, we've also just completed a resource for the Golden 40 project, which is just under a shade under 1 million tonnes at 4.5 grams. But there's a very high-grade core to that. So it's conceivable there's a high proportion of indicated as well, which can convert to an ore reserve. It's highly probable that there will be a reserve for that project as well, and it could be in the order of another 80,000 ounces. So we could be seeing the start of the royalty arm of our business growing from having circa $16 million of value to $32 million, and then growing thereafter. So it's a very different business model to most, but it really is an exciting period for us to now be progressing, growing the resource base, pushing that across into a reserve base, and then that will flow through to us having an income stream through the royalty. So it's a busy and exciting time for us.
Well, Mike, what are you hoping to achieve in the months ahead, say by the end of 2024?
Great question. Look, a number of things we're hoping to be achieving. Some of them are inside our control, some are not. The first thing that we'd want to be doing and hoping to complete is the ore reserve, and it's for the El Dorado project, which historically produced at a very, very high grade, around 100,000 ounces historically. We are hopeful that that resource, as I mentioned earlier, will be around this probably 50, hopefully 50, maybe 60,000 ounces. I don't know what the numbers are yet, so I can't say. But if that's the case, then that adds another string to our bow. That could come through in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Our resource consultant is still just finalising that at the moment. And that will then allow the Golden 40 project and El Dorado to move towards mining studies and adding to our reserve base for the project as well. So that's the first step for us, and that's inside our control. The step that is not inside our control, but our joint venture partners working diligently on that, is the long-awaited mill construction that we are hopeful that will commence in the coming months, and then will, over a period of time, the relocation of a mill that they are building for processing of our ore. We're hopeful that the construction will commence in the next few months, hopefully sooner, but we'll just have to wait and see. And that construction period, and then moving a number of our projects through into the mining studies and mining development, probably won't be the end of this year. It'll probably be early next year that by the time that the construction of the mill happens, that first gold will be coming out of our joint venture partners' mill next year. Now, they've got their own feed as well as ours, so it's not just our ore feed, but it's a collective. But we would see our projects being developed and progress towards that royalty income stream over the next 12 to 18 months' time.
Well, Mark, it's exciting to have the prospect of first gold just over the horizon. And you've also mentioned a few differentiating factors. But in summary, for anyone considering investing in Emmerson, what would you say to them?
Look, we are very different to a lot of other exploration and mining companies. Firstly, because we have deliberately taken the decision to joint venture with a mining group who can bring the mining expertise into processing and mining our deposits. As a result of that, we've got a royalty division of our business. Now, royalties are not that well understood in a lot of respects in the Australian equity market scene. However, if you look at a number of the big royalties and some of the best royalty companies in the world, Franco-Nevada, Daterra, for example, in Australia, the royalty business and the royalty model is a phenomenal business model whereby you're not exposed to the risks. You are exposed to the upside in commodity prices, driven by the value of the commodity being mined, and so that's a real differentiator for us, is having that royalty arm to the business, particularly for gold. We've also then got on our 100% owned properties a number of copper projects, and we're really looking forward to progressing our copper portfolio in Tennant Creek, as well as our other projects we have in New South Wales as well. So we've got a fair bit going on a number of fronts. In Tennant Creek has been the focus and will continue to be, but also exploration for a large porphyry copper gold systems in the Macquarie Arc in New South Wales. So hunting for elephants in elephant country down at Macquarie Arc, and have the birthplace, if you like, of Emmerson up in the Northern Territory and Tennant Creek, now progressing through to mining activities on our projects. So a very exciting time for us, but we are a different company to most because we have got this different stream. We're not going to be taking the risks of mining, and not taking debt on as most companies have to progress their projects. We've gone down a different path and a much lower risk path. So it's an exciting time for us, and hopefully the market starts to appreciate what we actually have got. It's difficult to articulate the story because there's been a lot of challenges in talking about forward-looking statements for us. But with the ore reserves that we've now got out, I can now talk to that value proposition and put dollar terms and dollar figures around that proposition, which historically, for regulatory reasons, we weren't allowed to talk about previously. So I can now talk about that. I can now start to see where we're going and where the value lies in our portfolio and in our projects. So an exciting period coming up.
Well, Mike, it's great to speak with you again. As you say, a lot going on, and I look forward to seeing you at Mining News Select Perth.
Fantastic. Great to see you. Great to speak to you, and great to be able to update everyone again when I get to the Mining Select Perth conference in just over a week and a half.